What happens if you go backwards in time?
Right.
Meet your teenage mother before you're born and she falls in love with you, right? Well, you're in deep doo-doo if that happens.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of people wonder about these things, and that's why the book is up there on the bestseller list.
It's now you believe that time travel is possible.
That's right. Stephen Hawking, my friend, used to say it is not possible. 10 years ago, he gave up. He said it is possible. Not practical. We can't build a machine anytime soon. But, hey, there's no law of physics preventing us from creating a wormhole, mentioned earlier, such that, like Alice going through the looking glass, that's a wormhole, going back and seeing your parents before you're born.
Isn't there see, the whole paradox thing, when that comes into play, just ruins the whole time travel thing. Going into the past, if you meet yourself, you would have had a recollection of doing so before you travel through time.
It's even worse than this. Think of, for example, a woman time travel scientist who builds a time machine. Eventually, she wants to become a man, so she changes her sex to a man, goes backwards in time, meets herself, makes love to herself, has a baby. That baby's mother and father is herself.
The same person.
Can you imagine being your own mother and father? I mean, it boggles the imagination. But this is what we physicists have to deal with. If time travel is possible, you could be your own mother, father, son, and daughter. Figure that one out.
And then that is a little odd. Would it be possible
This guy smokes
to
pot.
go back and kill yourself? But if you did that, you wouldn't be able to grow to the point where you can then time travel, so you wouldn't be able to have killed yourself. Yeah. See, it's just too many really odd things that could happen.
But you missed something. You see, Einstein says that time is a river, and we measure it with our GPS system every day. You cannot use GPS without assuming that time is a river. But the river of time can have whirlpools in the river of time. And then you can even have forks in the river of time. Now, if that's true, and the river of time forks into two rivers, and you went back and killed yourself before you killed your parents before you're born, you kill somebody else's parents before you're born.
Oh.
You've entered a parallel universe.
I like that. So it's like future Biff having the big casino hotel.
That's right.
And they had to go back all the way and fix it from the beginning. They couldn't fix it with future Biff because it was a different fork in the...
we have a physicist here.
Yeah, no, we have a moron that's watched Back to the Future 18,000 times.
Hey, who's texting you? Are you texting abroad as you do the big interview with us today,
I just
Dr.
would
Kaku?
hope that it's like the biggest dummy on there. Just, hey, I got a question for you. I'm lost.
It's by Stephen Hawking. Don't mention my name to these idiots. All right, so now I understand the river of time thing, but a lot of people probably don't.
Why are you pointing at Colin as you say that, Jimmy?
I'm not just gesturing to Colin, I'm just gesturing in general. So I was wondering if you could more carefully explain what the river of time means, because I don't want to seem like I'm ignorant, but for the listeners.
No, like you said, what he said, more carefully explain.
More carefully explain.
Think of it this way. Newton thought that time was like an arrow. Time never goes backwards, always goes forward, and a second on the Earth is a second on Mars. However, Einstein comes along and says, not so fast. Time is a river which meanders its way around the universe. Time beats faster on the moon than it does on the Earth. Time beats slower for the GPS system than on the Earth, and the Pentagon cannot fight wars with the GPS system unless you put in the fact that time slows down in outer space.
But a river doesn't go backwards.
But that's the new wrinkle. If you have enough energy, we now believe that the river of time can go backwards on itself. This is causing all the excitement. This is called closed time-like loops. Go to the physics literature, type in closed time-like loops.
Doctor, with all due respect, what excitement?
Among the people who are working on about 100 of us. There are about 100 of us on the planet Earth out of 6 billion people who understand Einstein's equations and work with this, play with this, and we do study Back to the Future. We do study these paradoxes.
You, by the way.
Can I say how happy I am, by the way, that when you said that, but the river doesn't go backwards, he was so ready. Every blithering idiot he's talked to has said that, and he had an answer for it.
I'm the only one that actually thought to ask that question, stupid. You just sat there like this.
Because I assumed...
Shut up.
I assumed the river would go backwards. I don't need to
He was
ask.
happy to have a debate, a spirited debate with a peer.
Called me a physicist, by the way, because I watch Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Do you guys really sit around and watch a lot of these shows and movies?
That's right, we do, because we have to tease apart the paradoxes. Given a paradox, paradox, we have to figure our way out of that paradox, or else the theory doesn't make any sense. You can't publish the paper if there's a paradox in your work. So we have to look at the question, what happens if you kill your parents before you're born? This is something that we have to address.
They would make a pretty much at that moment, a fork would be made.
That's right.
Where you would still exist, but in a different
time stream.
Yeah, time
That's
stream.
Right. You've hopped time streams.
Right.
So if you go back and save Abraham Lincoln, you've saved somebody else's Abraham Lincoln from being assassinated at the Ford Theater. Your Abraham Lincoln died 150 years ago.
Well, we do it a little earlier.
So if you go backwards in time and meet Hitler's mother, you can prevent World War II from taking place in that universe, but it's not your universe. A parallel universe has opened up.
So you could screw up other people's universes.
That's right.
But they don't know you're screwing it up. Like somebody theoretically could have screwed up our whole timeline, but we wouldn't know it because it's just history to us.
That's
it's just
right,
the way things went.
Yeah, you know that TV series Sliders, when they slide between you? And the very first episode of Sliders, there's a boy reading a book that starts the whole series. That's my book, Hyperspace. Hyperspace spawned a TV series called Sliders, where you slide between parallel universes and monkey with other people's pasts.
And to them, they don't notice because it's just their past.
That's right. You got it. That's
somebody could have screwed with my past.
He's got it.
Yeah. See,
But doctor,
I'm a smart guy.
Just as important, when going back to the Big Bang Theory, at what stage of human development did this kind of tadpole look?
As he points at Jim Norton.
Of course he does.
I don't even think he needed to explain where. Like everyone knew where he pointed. He couldn't have pointed anywhere else. He certainly wasn't going to point at himself.
I wish I had Adam Smash and a smash your face in right now.
This just goes to prove there's
Too bad
no...
you don't have a fat smasher.
This just goes to prove that there's no intelligent life on the Earth.
Yes. See?
Doctor, I resent that, actually. I really don't
Does it
appreciate
suck
that.
to live among...
I'm a fellow guest at a peer in the physical world.
Does it suck to live among dummies, Dr. Kaku? Like, you can't just walk around and discuss
That's a
this
good
stuff with
question.
anybody. Seriously.
Hey, I have to be able to address people's concerns. Because, look, I was a kid, too. I mean, I watched Flash Gordon, Star Trek, and Star Wars as a kid.
Yeah.
I wondered, these are the exact same questions I asked myself when I was a kid. Now I can answer these things. Because, now I can work completing Einstein's unfinished manuscripts, right? We can now go beyond Einstein. So I can answer the questions that I would have liked to have answered if I was a kid.
What type of technology would we need to time travel? There's been so many different versions of a time machine, but as far as you're concerned, what type of actual machinery would be needed?
Okay, you'd need the energy of a star. I mean, a DeLorean can't do it. You're not going to be able to get into a DeLorean and meet your parents before you're born. We're talking about bending time into knots, which means that's a power of a black hole, a power of a star. You would have to be what is called a Type 3 civilization, a galactic civilization. Now, we are a Type 0 civilization.
Oh, boy.
We're not even on the radar screen.
We got to level up. Jesus.
A Type 1 civilization would be planetary, like Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon. A Type 2 civilization would be stellar, like the Federation of Planets. But you would have to be Type 3, galactic, to have the power to bend time into a pretzel. And so, however, one day, if somebody knocks on your door and claims to be your great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter, don't slam the door.
You just don't know.
You just don't know. Maybe
Invite
your
her in and give her a
descendant,
roofie.
maybe your descendant wants to go backwards in time to meet her illustrious ancestor.
Now,
I don't know why.
Wouldn't a black hole? They're pretty devastating things. I mean, just crushing anything. Even stars into the size of
That's
a
the
walnut.
old picture. That's the old picture. We see these black holes in outer space, a few thousand of them, and they're spinning. They're spinning very rapidly, and we think they don't collapse to a point, they collapse to a ring. And if you fall through the ring of the center of a black hole, it's like going through the looking glass of Alice. Alice's looking glass is the ring at the center of a black hole,
Oh, I gotcha.
where gravity is finite. That's the loophole that Einstein missed. Einstein thought that a black hole collapses to a dot, in which case you die.
You just accelerate into the middle of it and squish.
Right, but we see these things in outer space. They're all spinning rapidly. We photographed them, a few thousand of them, and they collapse to a ring, we think. Falling through the ring is falling through the looking glass.
You're trashing Einstein, though.
Well, he didn't go far enough.
He didn't have
died.
computers.
Didn't have a comb either.
Hey, Dr. Kaku, is there other civilizations out there? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, we think so. And then the question is, how come